All right, so welcome everyone to this weekly Create Unicorn coaching. Okay, and obviously, I'd like to congratulate all of you because you guys have now entered into the third month. Okay, this is the third and also the last month of our coaching. Okay, all right, so and again, what we want to do here is to teach you concepts, mindsets about how to create a potential unicorn and a three-person unicorn. So okay, so this yeah, maybe we can start by sharing a bit of wins, just a couple of them. Okay, so I'd like to call out Shabashini. Would you like to share a win of yours since last week? Anything that you have been doing that's interesting, exciting, or something that's related to your 10x goal? Subhashini, can you talk, speak, unmute? All right. Yeah, I don't think we have heard of you yet.
Maybe I can
Okay.
share
Okay,
with you.
Sahar, yeah, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, Sahar, go ahead.
Yeah.
You haven't shared.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Perhaps I have done some good work in terms of researching a good product to purchase and then sell it from China
Mhm.
and sell it in Amazon Egypt. The product is a mobile phone holder. There is someone experienced in this field, so I always turn to him to ask for advice how to overcome challenges in this field because I have a lot of problem in this field. I am also studying how to obtain commercial register in Egypt, the paper, and handle some paperwork. I might face some problem with shipping. I think is a big problem with me is shipping from China to Egypt. It's need a lot of money, maybe more than the price of the products. So I might try to face this, but I am trying to overcome them. Also, in my family front, I am trying to spend more time with them because this time I don't have a lot of time to spend it with them, and I need really to be with them more time.
Okay, excellent, excellent. All right. So
Thank you.
what I heard, because I know you wanted to open up a restaurant, right, sometime,
Yeah,
and you're also doing imports, right, from
I heard
China.
this.
I think that's, that's great business. Okay. Obviously, from our perspective, we would encourage you to think, how can you continuously to 10x your goals and also, scale that, to
Yeah,
to the next level. But I mean, always start with something small. I think that's excellent.
yeah. The
And
restaurant is big thing.
right, right, right. So thanks for sharing. I mean, and also, I think you're taking the right steps, asking someone experience and also actually identifying, seeing that import is more of an issue than the cost. Okay, that is something definitely I would say a real experience. So
Yeah,
congrats. Okay,
sure.
congrats. Thanks for
Thanks.
sharing. Yeah. All
Thank you.
right. So, all right, we have so anyone else? Rohini, would you like to share your wins? I mean, just since last week, anything that that's kind of learning, exciting, um, or maybe even 10x for you in alignment with your goal, 10x goal.
Uh, um, there, yeah, I did. So basically, we have this government organization, and they visited our college, and we got to like interact with them. So what they do is they incubate startups and will help you out with everything. Even they don't like fund your startup, but since it's government organization, they do have like a very huge network, and they'll help you connect with investors, potential investors, so which is really great. So we got to interact with a few people, the chairman of the government organization, and it was really inspiring, motivating. And after that, I think everybody, my friends, my peers, everybody started, actually concentrating, taking everything serious. And if there's any startup idea going on, or if they are working for anything, so everybody is on that. So that was pretty really great for me. I feel like the timing was really perfect. When yeah, last week it was a lot for me. There were many things, and I didn't knew on what to focus on. But then them coming up and sharing their experiences, ups and downs, really helped us. That you going through this phase is also very essential, because definitely whenever you are down, coming up, you'll be learning a lot, and which will be helping you. Taking insights from that will be helping you in the future. So maybe that was pretty much great for me, a learning process.
Excellent, excellent. Wow, wow. Okay. I love your connecting with the government group, and also, being inspired, okay, from the engagement and also from the peers, right? I think when you talk about how the people who attended become more inspired, motivated, right, and also start to take actions, I think that's really a good sign. Okay, yeah.
Thank
And
you.
and there's a term called peak experience. Okay, peak experience. So this is something that it's kind of like we have our normal life, right? Normal routines often. Certain things we do on a regular basis, right? For a student, it could be like going to class. For some people with job, it could be like going to work, right? Or certain routines. However, peak experiences are events, incidents, or experiences that are just out of the ordinary. Okay, like for example, I was sharing. Okay, so my win this past week is I actually shared a bit earlier, is that I decided to go on a trip around Taiwan by train just on Monday, this past Monday. And it was totally unplanned, unexpected, simply because I had the thought earlier, which planted the seeds, that I thought it's going to be feasible because I actually work you guys probably know, I have a scheduled 10 to 12 hours work week. Okay. I'm pretty much empty in most of my daytime, and I work fully remote. So it doesn't really matter where I am, right? So I actually went on just on this trip around Taiwan by train. And because of that, I met this German guy who has traveled the world for the last 40 years, a very experienced traveler. And I learned a great deal from him. We talked for a couple of hours straight, you know, that was a peak experience for me. And it might just change a bit about how I think about the world, about happiness, about well-being, about the economy. Okay, because my conversation with him. So I would definitely encourage you guys to find and seek out these quote unquote peak experiences. I can see that, Rohini, you just had a peak experience by interaction with this group, right? With this, the chairman from the government organization,
Yes.
right? That was probably a peak experience. So yeah, and so these are definitely encouraged. Okay. All right. So we have Vihas here. Would you like to share what's your win this past week? If you can speak, Vihas?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. What's your win or learning this past week?
So, uh, I have completed my some part of the project. That is my win of this past week.
Okay, okay. So you have what? Sorry, I didn't quite get that.
So I worked on my project. Some part of it is completed. So that is my win for the week.
Oh, nice, nice. Would you like to share what's the part you completed? What's your project and which part did you complete?
I was working on a model that can capture the images and identify the text from it, and I was the images, the text mainly will be the addresses, and there will be auto completion features. So I have just completed the identification,
Mhm.
capturing the
Okay.
images and removing the text from it. So that part is completed, and still working on the website of it.
Okay, excellent, excellent. All right. So obviously this is a technical, technical challenge, I guess. It's something technical development, right? That you've
Yes,
been
sir.
building towards. Okay, excellent. All right. Okay. So I guess I don't know. It sounds like it's a technique. I don't know if it's related to any application or any startup ideas that you have. Okay. Is it or not yet?
Sir, can you repeat your questions, please?
The question is the technology, the system software you're developing related to any startup idea that you're doing
Mm,
or not
Startup?
yet? Yeah, startup,
No, sir.
right?
No, sir.
No,
No,
not
sir.
yet, right?
Not
Okay,
yet.
okay, all right, not yet, not yet. So you know that this is an entrepreneurship course, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so I guess my feedback is I would encourage you to think about how this can be applied, okay, in
Yes, sir.
some real
Still
terms.
thinking about it.
Right, right. And in fact, in this group, there's a few MBA students. Okay. Actually, I think Karthik, Vashali will be taking MBA. Rohini, I think, is also a business, very skillful at business. So maybe have an exchange with them. You guys are all in the WhatsApp group. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, you guys can definitely have some conversations to see if this is something of interest of one of the things I would also encourage you guys to explore is, e- e- evolution. Evolution process actually involves hitting different ideas. Some of the best inventions, by the way, in the world that happen actually is across different domains. Okay, so somebody takes an idea that works in one domain and apply in a different domain. Okay, that's usually actually some of the best, inventions or business models actually came about. I'm trying to think of an example, but you know, like for example, I mean, before Netflix, right? Netflix actually created the video streaming kind of model, right? It's probably one of the most successful video streaming company. But before that, it was actually doing video on demand. So I guess and before that, there's Blockbuster. I don't know if you guys know Blockbuster. It's rental video stores. You go there and you rent a DVD to watch, right? Blockbuster was huge, at least in the U.S. But what happened was, uh, I mean, Blockbuster wasn't uh, taking advantage of the potential internet boom that was happening, right? So internet was growing, bandwidth was growing. So a natural evolution might be to deliver watching videos over the internet, which Blockbuster knew but did not take any action. But what happened was Netflix, the founder of Netflix, they were seeing this coming. And actually, it's not, it's, and subscription is a really old business model, right? Subscription models happen in a lot of different industries. But they just started, the previous model was that you go to a rental store and you rent a DVD, right, by pieces. That's how you charge, right? You rent movies, you get charged each time. But Netflix was actually applying a subscription-based model to the video rental. So it was taking an idea that already worked. Okay, this is actually talked about in the 80/20 individual book. Okay, by the way, that's something I highly recommend everyone. It's called the 80/20 individual, by the guy who wrote the 80/20 principle. So there are these business ideas that actually work that has shown to demonstrate it works in a certain domain or industry, but it hasn't been applied in another part. Okay, so when you can actually do that, that sometimes, create really nice results. Okay, it's called idea sex. Okay, you have one idea and another. Obviously, a lot of these variation or differences, novelty, it may not survive. Okay, it may not actually work in the real world, at least for now. But if you have enough of this variation, you can test and try them and see which one actually have what's called traction, which means growth. Then you can take that, right, and try to scale it. And usually that becomes a successful business. Okay, so that's kind of, there's an exploration process. And the key, obviously, is to try to do that quickly and cheaply, right? And a lot of times. Okay, so I think that's also what the YC model recommends. Okay, so hope that helps. All right, so that actually goes nicely to today's, our this week's material, which we are now officially entering into the third month and also the 9th week. Okay, so this week, the main YC topic is actually something related to what Rohini was saying, investors. Okay, this is actually, I think many of the first-time founders or entrepreneurs are mostly interested, which is how can I get investors' money, right? How can I get, be invested? But before we share about fundraising, okay, this week's topic is about fundraising and also how you raise money and company building. But before, doing fundraising, I think I like to emphasize, and I think not just me, but some of the other coaches, especially I think Sarah Mana, basically we I think it's highly recommend to bootstrap your business first before actually seeking investor money. There are multiple reasons for this, okay? But obviously, initially, you may not have the money, so you're forced to bootstrap, right? But I think there is another important part is that if you think you have to raise money in order to actually start, then your entrepreneurial journey may be hindered simply because you haven't raised the money. Okay, but that is not the right way. You should always make your business moving forward with or without money. Okay, this is, I think, the first idea. And also today, I think it's a lot cheaper and affordable to start a business than before. There are a lot of free and automated tools, right? So, and especially during the 0 to 1 phase, because money, in a sense, usually, obviously, you can pilot test or do things, but like prematurely, if you have too much money, you actually likely will waste it, because especially large capital, the best usage is to scale up operation. So if you haven't yet found what's called the product market fit, right, the MVP, that actually works, and you are being given money to actually try to scale it, that is actually, that may be catastrophic, because you could be scaling something that doesn't really work. Okay, so, the bigger you scale, the bigger the failure you will experience. Okay, so I think that's something I like to share first, is that try to bootstrap, first into a feasible profitable model before you actually seek out investor money. And there's also the concept, from Sarah Mana, that go to investor like a king, not a beggar. Okay, you should not beg for money. You should let the investor chase after you. Okay, that's the best position to be in. Okay, so I think these are really, really golden concepts that, I'm learning, also applying on myself. So, yeah. All right, so that being said, for the YC first module, how STAR fundraising work, they talk about the SAFE agreement. Okay, so SAFE is actually a template contract that almost I think all the YC startups, and in fact, thousands of other startups globally have used. And it's basically a simple page, you know, a simple contract between the you know, the investor and the founders. And it's already being reviewed by the YC lawyers. So legally, it should also work for your, you know, for your startup. And you only have to agree on two things. One is how much capital, how much money to, you know, put into the company, and also what's the percentage of equity that you are trading over. Okay, so those are kind of you know, just two simple numbers. Once you can agree with that with your investor, pretty much, you know, just sign the contract, and you can actually sign an investor agreement. Okay, so this is you know, this is actually something that you know, YC recommends. And the other thing is that you don't want to perpetually in the bootstrapping state. Okay, I think we talk about it's good to be bootstrapping because then you also have control. You're also not scaling the wrong stuff. But you also don't want to be in bootstrapping forever. And the reason is that if you already have validated and you know it actually makes sense to get some resource, it's nice that you don't have to be stressed out about money. Okay, and think of it this way. Some on the other extreme, there are some funders that never go to fundraise, okay, that don't, you know, always rely. That I think that from YC's perspective, that's also, you know, not right because you could grow faster and especially in some high growth area or market. And also another way to think about this is you can then concentrate on serving your clients better. Okay, without having to worry about a lot of the, you know, details that actually money can solve. There's a saying that if money can solve a problem, it's not a problem. Okay, if this is something that can be solved by spending money, then it's not really a problem. Okay, and yeah, so I think that, and obviously rejection is normal. Even some of the most successful companies you see today, they probably have been rejected by investors many times, many times. Okay, so don't be discouraged. Now, the second topic this week is how to actually apply and succeed at YC. Okay, so actually one of the assignment for you guys is to apply for YC, okay, for this week. Now, a lot of people think about, you know, I don't apply because I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too early, I'm too late, it's too difficult, I'm a foreigner, I'm not in the States. Okay, Saha, you have a question? I see you got yourself unmuted. You have a question? Okay. If you guys have a question, you can always raise your hand, all right? But actually, all of those are called excuses, okay? Because it doesn't take you any money. It doesn't cost you anything to apply for YC. And in fact, this is something I would highly recommend all of you to do because going through the YC application form, just simply to complete that, you have to complete a lot, you have to answer a lot of questions. You have to record a video explaining what you're doing, okay? And to see if actually YC likes you. In that process, you actually would fine tune and clarify a lot about your business model, about your product, about your target audience, you know, about how it should function as a scalable, potentially scalable startup. Okay, so this is something I highly recommend. And they say about don't fake it because you want to be authentic, okay, about who you really are. And one of the ways that you can tell if you are giving one thing as a entrepreneurial founder is you want to be really articulate and have great communication. One way to tell if you have a great communication is can the listener, can the people you share your idea with, can they repeat what you're doing to other people? In other words, can they retell your story to others? Okay. So again, I guess I'll use some example, our own example, right? So what is a sender? A sender is that we want to build impactful social enterprise. Actually, 1,000 such impact unicorns in 20 years. Okay, so that's kind of like a couple of sentences explaining what a sender is. For our agritech, company Pure Harvest, it's about mission is to make organic, food production commonplace, even more common than the current chemical farming. And likely, through various ways. But the idea is that we want to make, organic farming become a common by supplying people with organic produced food easily and affordably. Okay, so that's kind of what we are trying to do. So you can think about, how can you pitch, explain what you're doing so the listener can understand and also can retell your story. Okay, retell your pitch, right? For example, like I think there's the story about Dropbox. Okay, if you guys, Dropbox, it's the cloud system, right? The story of Drew Houston was that he was a student, right? And he had to share his assignments using USB disk, copy that here and there between computers. And it was just such a pain. Okay, it takes time. Your files can get corrupted. You could miss your USB disk. You could get virus infected to the USB disk to the computer, right? And your files just are not synchronized. You could have different versions lying on different computers and they're not synchronized. Okay, so it was just not very convenient. And he had the idea, why can't we just have all the files in the cloud and synchronize across all devices? A very simple idea, but also something people can easily get, right? So, can you have a clear pitch that other people can understand and retell your story? All right. So maybe let's do some questions. So I guess the first question is related to what you just shared is, how much do you think you are planning to raise? Okay, for your star project. Okay, and how much equity are you willing to give up? Okay, so think about this question for 1 minute. Okay, even if you don't have any answer, just try to maybe draw some guess. Okay, it's a good mental exercise. All right, so let's start and maybe answer this question for 1 minute.
So can you
Rohini, you have a question?
repeat the question?
The question is, how much do you plan to raise now for your startup? And how much equity are you willing to give up? Remember the two questions I talk about in the SAFE contract? It's essentially these two numbers. How much are you raising and how much are you willing to give up? So for example, for a sender, we're actually thinking about, at the first stage, actually our overall target is to raise $15 million, okay, for a sender. And the amount of equity is, we're willing to give up, I think, 20 to 25%, okay, for this. So, that will give us a certain valuation, right? Okay. So, things like that. All right, so let's start with 1 minute. Okay, how much do you plan to raise and how much are you willing to give up? I mean, to equity to give. All right, so let's start. All right, for 10 more seconds. Okay, all right. So our next question for today is, so can you tell your startup story in 1 minute? Okay, so this is going back to what we said about when you try to pitch, when you try to explain what you're doing, make it simple, succinct, and people can understand, right? So a clear pitch. So can you retell your, startup, what your startup is about, your startup story in 1 minute? Okay, so I'll give you 1 minute to write down. Okay. What is your 1 minute pitch for your startup? Okay, all right, let's start. All right, 10 more seconds. Okay, all right. So, all right, let's continue. Okay. So basically the second topic is about how to lead. Okay, how to lead. Now, I think there's something to be mentioned about being a leader. And the reason why this is important is because I think all of you, if you are thinking about starting a company or becoming an entrepreneur, likely you have a vision, right? You have something that you want to create, something you desire, something that's a better future for you, for your family, for your friends, for society, right? Or for the environment. There's probably a vision you have, but also very likely that you are not going to be able to achieve what you have envisioned by yourself alone. Okay, if you have a small goal, then maybe. But if you actually have a big, ambitious goal or a big goal, likely that will require teamwork, right? Require other people's help. So you have to become a leader of sorts, right? Otherwise, well, people at least at least you would not have a team of people who can actually join you or want to help you, right? So you do want to become a leader of sorts. Now, for some of us, that might seem a bit scary. That because when we talk about leader, we think of, let's say, Steve Jobs, right? Or Bill Gates, or some of the front end people, some front stage people, right? Someone who's very articulate, who's very charismatic, with high level charisma, speaks well, etc. However, that's not the case. Okay. According to YC, and I think they know what they're talking about because they funded over 4,000 startups. They have seen all kinds of founders and entrepreneurs. And the conclusion is that leaders come in all forms and shapes and sizes and colors. Okay. So, for example, some are extrovert, some are introvert. Some are articulate, some aren't. Some are very public, some are very shy. Okay. So some are very people-oriented, some are actually very maybe reclusive, private. So even if you are introvert, even if you don't speak well, even if you are very shy, you are kind of like the backstage person, you can still be a leader and become a great entrepreneur because at the end of the day, what an entrepreneur does is really solving a problem with a product or a service as a solution and somehow makes a profit in the process. So it actually doesn't matter how you achieve that as long as you can create results. Okay, I think this is an important part. And the key essence to leadership or leader is actually growth, meaning that you yourself, you are always growing. You are always becoming bigger, better, faster, stronger in, whatever area you want to optimize. But also you are helping those around you to also become better. Your teammates, right? Your collaborators, your partners, your employees, your clients, your investors. If you're helping them to become better and growing, that is leader. Okay, so leadership is about growth, actually. It's about personal, about team growth. And I actually heard this from Tony Robbins just this past week. I think that's also an excellent way to describe leaders, which is, if you tell people what to do, when you're around, like, do this next, right? And then when you're away, then they stop, they don't know how to do it. Then you're a manager. Okay, but what leader is after you're gone, the person still knows what to do and can still do things and execute and, even happy and willing to. Okay, so leader is someone, even after he's gone, the people are still doing things. Okay, that's the difference between a leader and a manager. All right, so I think that's also an interesting way to look at it. Now, to become a leader, you actually cannot copy other people like Steve Jobs, Jack Welch, or Gates, or Elon Musk. And the reason is very simple, because there can be only one Gates, one Jobs, one Musk. Okay, and one you. One Karthik, one Sarah, one Vikas, one Vashali, one Rohini. Okay, one Sapashini, one Safa. Okay, one Siddharth. There's only one of you in the world. Okay, so in a sense, in a very, very real sense, you have to become the best version of yourself. Okay, think about that. The only way that you can become a leader is you want to become the best version of yourself, of your own self. Meaning that, you have to kind of become authentically you. Okay, leveraging your best uniqueness, your gift, your talents, your unique ability. And, you can maybe copy other people, but if you copy other people, you will never become world-class because that's them, that's not you. You have a different goal, a different upbringing, a different background, a different aspiration, right? So by copying others, you can never become world-class. The only way you can become world-class, or become excellent is really to become the best version of yourself. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much, I think, what I like to share. So one ways that you can perhaps to look from this is there's probably something you are very good at. Okay, so there's 3 traits for leader. Usually they are great communicators, clear communication. They're a good judge of people. Okay, because as mentioned, you want to build teams, right? And in order to build great teams, you do have to judge whether this is a good team member. And also, there's a high level of commitment to integrity. Okay, now there's a word, I think, about integrity. Integrity is not just about, having moral standards or do the right or do good things. It's actually also about being integral. So the word integrate, integral means become one. It means that you are actually becoming one in terms of your thinking and what you say and also what you do. Okay, so I mean, I'm not perfect. Okay, there's usually gap between what I say and what I do, or between what I think and what I do. but again, it's not a it's not. It's always a scale. You can never reach perfection, but you can always improve. Okay, it's kind of one of those things. So whenever you're acting, when you're thinking and what you're saying and when you're acting are the same, then you're actually integrated. You're an integral person. For example, I guess I'll give one example for me is that I wanted to immigrate to Canada for a long time, actually since 2017, right? But I've been saying that for many years, but not really taking actions. Okay, not actual actions. So the past July summer when I went there, I really started to take actions in terms of moving towards the STAR visa and actually doing more surveys. So in a sense, I'm acting more integral towards my goal, right? So I think you can find examples of this in your life as well. All right. If you say you want to wake up early and you do, then you're being integral, right? You have integrity. And the higher integrity you have, actually, the more confidence you will gain. Okay, sorry. Let me get some water. Okay. Just hold on a sec. By the way, if you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask as well. Okay, you can raise your hand or type in the chat. All right, so okay, so one of the things is to maybe see an easy way to see how you can become a leader is there something that actually people trust you for? Okay, that's something maybe you're unique at, you're great at. That people actually, when they do it, they would seek your opinion. Okay, so for our third question is, what is maybe an area, a field, or scale in which you are currently most trusted? Meaning that your friends and family will actually come and ask you for your opinion or feedback. Okay, that usually is a clue where that's your unique ability, you can excel and become a leader at, right? All right, so 1 minute for this, okay? So let's start with, what's something that which you are currently most trusted? Okay, let's start. 6. All right, 10 more seconds. Okay, all right. So, okay. I think, well, do a bit of the mindset, okay, share as well, okay? So for this week, um, one of the things about going potentially 10x is that you want to be able to maximize or leverage for long term. Okay, what that means is that I think there's the concept of the infinite game, which I think we shared a bit earlier. which is in life and in business, it's not really a win-loss situation. Even if you can win in this moment, in this instance, the only reward for winning is to continue to play in the game. So this is called an infinite game. Okay, life and business are infinite games. They're not what's called finite games, like sports, like a baseball game. It's not like that. And when you understand that, I think you are going to be able to take a longer term approach, to look at things. And you do want to master how you can maximize or leverage longer term benefits. And um, and part of going to 10x is about how can you find or identify maybe just a few things, even one thing that if you do really well, okay, that's going to get you into the next stage. And and usually that would involves to become what's called anti-fragile. Okay, because remember, the 10x process is really about how you can let go of your current self, maybe 80% of that, of what you're currently doing. Okay, what you're currently interacting. But then you can then focus on what's the core essential 20% that you're best at, right? And that applies to both, the things you do, but also for the people that you're interacting with or the goals that you're pursuing, okay? And this process, necessarily what that entails is that periodically you will have to trim away what you currently have. You have to let go or give up what you currently have. And that can be painful or, you may not be used to. So that requires a kind of emotional resilience or what's called anti-fragility. Anti-fragile, the concept is that, oftentimes we don't like to lose things, right? But if you look at nature, um, there are many instances when if someone or if something is being hurt or being removed, it actually not just, it actually grows back and becomes stronger. Okay, you probably have similar experience in your life. When that happens, it's called anti-fragile, meaning that you are not actually being overcome by the situation, but you actually have grown and become even better, than before. So the way that you can cultivate this kind of ability is, one, a lot of times people are forced to lose things, right? Either because, let's say, there's an external circumstance. Sometimes people become sick, right? Become ill, or maybe lost a loved one. Okay, that becomes the trigger because there's a huge loss. Then they have to learn new things or to, build new relation. But if you understand, and usually that would be a transformation experience afterward. But if you understand the mechanism, you actually would do it yourself. As opposed to let the environment to do this for you, you actually would do it yourself. Okay? So from this light, uh, the next question is, okay, so the first is, what does your next 10x level look like? Okay, no more than 3 years. Okay, so I'll give you maybe 1 minute to answer this. Okay, all right, so let's start. In 3 years, what's your next level 10x life, goal look like? All right, 10 more seconds. Okay, all right. So the next question is, given your next level 10x, life or goal, what are your 1 to 3 impossible goals for the next 12 months? In other words, for next year, what would, impossible goals for you in the next, 12 months? 1 to 3. Okay, no more than 3. All right, so again, 1 minute for this. All right, let's start. All right, 10 more seconds. All right, okay. So the third mindset related question is, what's the 80% you have to let go in order to actually achieve your 10x goal? Okay, in the next year, right? We lay down what's your impossible goal in the next 12 months, in next year, right? Within the next 12 months. So what do you have to let go? What's the 80% you have to let go in order for that to, to happen? Okay, so again, 1 minute on this. Start. Okay, 10 more seconds. Okay, all right. So let's start with some sharing. Okay, really excited to hear some of your shares. Okay. All right. So anyone would like to share first? What's your answers to this question or any questions, insights you might have, in this process? All right, remember this is your great chance to get some feedback so you can actually grow towards your 10x future self. All right. So anyone would like to share first? All right, Rohini, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So the first question was, how much do you plan to raise and how much equity are you willing to give up? So for my mental health startup, I plan to raise around 5 to 10 lakhs rupees in the pre-seed round to fund product development, early marketing, and initial operations. In exchange, I would be willing to offer 10 to 15% equity depending on the valuation and the investor fit too. The focus is on securing good like good investors who can provide not just funding but also valuable mentorship and industry connections. So regarding the 1 minute pitch, so a few of my sirs have shared me this 1 minute pitch template that we must follow. So I made one according to that. After this call, I would share it in the group too. So, my company Tara is developing an AI powered mental health platform to help students and young professionals access personalized, stigma free mental health support with AI driven emotional analysis and expert therapist guidance. We compete in the growing mental health and wellness market, which last year was valued at 10,000 crores. We are similar to Vyasa and Mindhouse. Um, but we offer a seamless blend of AI based emotional tracking with real human therapist intervention, making mental health support both personalized and scalable. Currently, we are in the research and development phase, building our MVP and conducting market validation. We are looking for funding to help us develop the MVP, run pilot programs, and also to refine our AI models for better accuracy and user engagement. So,
Mhm.
this is 1 minute pitch that
Okay,
we
excellent.
often go with it. So next up, what is your 10x level lookalike and not more than 3 years? Um, so definitely scaling my startup uh, into the leading mental health platform, securing major funding, and later expanding into the global markets, not just in the India, but maybe starting somewhere South Asia, and then later going to major capitals, US, UK. Later, that's definitely going to be after 3 years. So, next question is, given your next 10x level goal, what is your three impossible goals for the next 12 months? My three impossible goals would definitely be build and launch my startup, secure maybe 2 crore rupees in seed funding, and maybe acquiring 50,000 plus early users. So that's definitely impossible in the next 12 months. And what is the 80% I have to let go in order for my 10x goal to happen? That would definitely be no distractions, stop focusing on being the perfectionist, and making sure that you don't take any decision like delayed decision making. Stop doing that, because sometimes you have to be very quick. So these are the three things that I want to let go.
Mm. Okay, excellent, excellent. All right. So any feedbacks for or questions for Rohini? And remember, this is a mastermind session, means that your feedback to each other is tremendously valuable because everyone has a different angle. Karthik, go ahead. Please share your feedback or question.
I had a question for Rohini.
Yeah.
So I read one article. There was a guy in I think US. He he put a question in AI that something related to his mental health, and the AI prompt was "You should die." That was the clear cut answer. So AI is smart, but people who are suffering from mental health, they are already vulnerable. So how would you tackle that?
Okay. So, yes, what you said is true, but also we can tackle this by making sure that AI is not always right. Here, our whole idea is we are not telling you have to totally depend on it, but there are many resources that we can use. Not just looking at the negative side, but there's a lot we can learn. So basically what we are doing is, here it's not like a chatbot where you can talk. We are providing you like a company with whom you can talk, kind of a personalized AI for you. We are not totally doing that, but it's just a feature of ours, which is gonna kind of, what do you call it, elevate. That's it. But our main motto is we are providing actual mental health therapy sessions, which is kind of pretty not like available in many places in India. Maybe in metropolitan cities, but the place where I live in, it's still very I mean, yeah, to be honest, even what do you call, even if my friends, if they come up and say ki, I'm going to therapy, of course it's a taboo right now in the society. But then to overcome that, to help them with that, I'm coming up with this idea where I'm going to be providing mental health support, online sessions, and making sure that they have all the required tools and everything to grow.
So, Charles, do you think that did that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Yes? Okay. All right. Good. All right. So any other feedback or questions for Rohini? Okay. All right. So I have a one feedback and one question. Well, the feedback is I think you hit on something great to encourage you to explore, which is where you are from, right? It may not offer something other places are offering. So that is your unique situation. Okay, you're actually solving something very unique. And if you obviously can combine that with your unique ability to come up with something, then that will become your unique solution, which nobody else can come up with and nobody else likely can copy. Okay, so I mean, definitely encourage you to think along those lines. My question to you is is there a way for you to test your ideas quickly and cheaply and kind of move forward your minimal viable product? Is there something basically what's the next step to validate your idea?
Yes, sir.
That's
So right now, first we started in my college. Since our initial client base is exactly the place where I am right now, and it's like the perfect. It's perfect to start there. So I created like a group in WhatsApp where people who have problems regarding anything, maybe academic pressure, stress, or maybe just a quest for a meaningful career, if they have a problem going on regarding the placements. And also a few of my seniors who are right now working in MNCs, they are going through this a lot of workplace stress. So through my network, I got contacts of a few people, and everybody's in the group. So I've talked to like a few doctors here who offer therapy sessions. So right now we are doing only online. If I conducted like a small open mic therapy session a couple of months ago, just to get their feedback. If I have to add something, if there's anything that I have to focus on, since this is the place that I live in, Warangal, is going to be my initial client base. So, with the help of a small network circle that I have going on, I've been doing a pretty good market evaluation.
Okay, all right. So I think it's good that you are actually taking steps towards that, right? Um, I Well, I guess one question is, what is something you want to like validate at this stage? Like what's the biggest uncertainty for you at this point? that,
The thing is,
right,
so
go ahead, yeah.
the thing is, even though we are in 2025, still the place that I live in, it's a huge taboo whenever someone comes forward and just speaks about mental health. So, regarding this last year, me and one of my friend, we both did a mental health awareness campaign in our college, which lasted for like about a good month, where we visited almost all the majors that are in my college and also a few other schools. So right now, uh, one of the things that I want to like validate is just people to let go of it, to let go of the fear. And if you need help, like come forward. It's fine. If there's nothing wrong for you to for you wanting to be better, for you wanting to do well. So right now, first I want people to let go. I know it's not possible, but still, at least I want to bring a little bit awareness, even maybe out of 100 people, 10 to 15, that's a good amount.
Mhm. Okay, excellent. All right. So I think it's good that you have identified, kind of what's the bottleneck, right? The crux, which is the awareness, right? And it's a taboo, right? So, so obviously, I think maybe that's the question to address. If you can solve the taboo issue in maybe a tech-enabled way or an efficient way, then I would say definitely you can scale up your user base and that would be the great foundation, for you to grow moving forward. So yeah. So I guess my feedback is how can you actually validate that again quickly, cheaply, and also so you know how to take the next step, right? In a sense. Okay. And all right. So did you mention about what you have to let go?
Yes,
Okay. What was it?
I mean, sometimes I have like a lot of things going on um, with me. So first, letting go of distractions. It might be, I don't know, me thinking a lot about an exam which is pretty far ahead. I can prepare for that maybe like 2 days before the exam, but still I kind of worry what's gonna happen, and that's gonna um, pretty much waste my time. And during that thinking process, if I worked on something, and there's gonna be pretty good result, right? So one of the things that I want to let go is distractions, and also kind of uh, perfect perfectionism too, because sometimes even with like a small, maybe for example Google form, um, uh, I change it every maybe 10 seconds. This is not right, we have to add that, we have to take this out. Maybe a PPT that I'm making for like a pitch, we have to focus a lot on the technical stack. So yeah, maybe that's one of the thing too that I want to let go.
Okay, good. All right. So I guess the one thing I can perhaps share or feedback is that you might want to raise up your constraint. Okay. And one way to do that is again through 10xing your goal. Okay, because remember that to 10x is not just to simply multiply by 10, whatever numbers. No, it's not like that. It's actually about raising your goal, to a high enough level. So you want to change how you're currently doing things. Does that make sense? Okay, maybe let me put
Yes,
it
sir.
another way. Maybe let me put it another way. You want to avoid distraction, right? For example, you worry about exams a lot, etc. one way to spend your energy is to see how I can stop doing this, how I can not be affected by this, right? How not to, right? However, a better approach might be you actually have something important, huge, and exciting waiting for you to do. Does that make sense? For example, that there is an idea, maybe something you can execute, you know, to validate, to grow much faster, bigger, right? That excitement alone, I think, will put you away, your mind away from the exam and into actually something you're excited to do and make it realize. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Like, okay, like one way is to solve the problem, but the other is to actually to go after something much better and bigger, so that you don't no longer have the mind, the space, the mental capacity to worry about your problem. Okay. Okay. It's yeah, so this is why I encourage you, you know, to again to think 10x, okay? And always from that reverse engineer how you could change what you're doing. Okay, and putting constraint is actually good. For example, with a deadline, with a limit on the money or the time or the people that can be involved. Okay, so make sense? All right. Okay, okay, all right. So I hope that gives you some ideas about how to proceed. Okay. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. And always, you know, to educate market is one thing. It seems like you want to educate market. However, there may be angles or maybe subdomains, subcontext, subset of the market that's already being educated. Okay, already having awareness, already are looking for solutions. I also encourage you to maybe look at those. Okay, because educating market, oftentimes it takes time, resource, and you know, could be a long time before market is actually educated or aware, right? However, there's probably already something that people are already aware and they think that it's important for them. If you can actually tackle, I don't know the specifics, but I encourage you to look into that. All right?
Yes,
Okay, so all right, okay. Hope that helps. Okay.
yes. Thank you,
All
sir.
right. So maybe that's is there another person who would like to share? Maybe we can do one more. Yeah, and again, this is kind of like a hot seat, but this is the best way for you to actually to grow. Okay. Okay, so anyone would like to maybe share your answers next? Or if you have a question, you can also ask. Oh, anyone? Um, okay. Um, actually, I would say that you know, if okay, so I don't think we've heard from Shapashini or Siddharth yet. Any one of you would like to share? Okay, all right. So if not, then maybe we'll wrap up, okay, for today. Okay. So let's do maybe spend 1 minute, okay, to basically write down what's the biggest thing you have learned today, okay, and any action you like to do and you know move it forward, okay. All right, so I'll ask everyone to spend 1 minute on this? Okay, so let's start. Okay, so what's the biggest, learning gains in one action going forward? Okay, let's start. Oh, Karthik, you have raised your hand. You like to share?
Sir, I had
You
a
have a
question.
question?
It's not related
Okay,
to
go
today's
ahead.
session. Not
Okay, go
related
ahead.
to
What,
today's
what?
session.
Okay, what's your question?
I remember you had told once that you're running online businesses since 2011 or so.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a question, how efficient is it, and maybe what are the difficulties you faced?
Okay, I see. Okay. An online business. Okay. All right. So I'll answer this maybe after the shares. Okay. Will that be all right? Okay. So maybe okay. So that's complete. That's complete the I think the today's main learning. Okay, and also the action. All right. 10 more seconds. Okay. All right. So I think let me answer Karthik's question first. Okay. Uh, so I think your question was about since I started to do my business, what's the I guess your question was how efficient was it, or what was the hurdle?
Both.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. Okay. So I think for me at different stages, the hurdles were different. Okay, obviously. Initially, it was about how to create the product. Okay, how to actually build, because we're actually doing games initially, doing online games. And later we did cloud surveillance, actually. So there were definitely development issues, technical issues that has to be resolved, right? But then we got to a stage where we were, we can build product, we can build system, we can build the site, right? Within a certain time frame. Then it becomes the question of, actually entering into the market. Because originally we were just the builders. There were sales partner that actually would sell and market the product. But, they did not, I think we were faced with various issues. So later it became that we want to sell and do the marketing directly ourselves, right, with our own product. So with my second company, actually, that's exactly what we did. We were doing a direct client-facing, product, which is the crypto fund, and do all the customer acquisition and all that. So that becomes, kind of like the next hurdle. And obviously, with that, it became clear that sales and marketing actually are super important. Okay. that actually prompted my third company, which is actually a marketing company, Idea9, about doing online course coaching and, kind of sales marketing online. So I would say the hurdles have been different at different stages. And obviously, in this process, I also have grown and expanded my goals and my vision in terms of what to do, right? And also learning techniques. So I would say at this stage, okay, in my life, or what I can see in the foreseeable future, is actually how to continuously to grow 10x and into the next stages. Does that make sense? Because I can now see that the main hurdle is not any specific obstacle that I'm facing, but the fact that whether I can continuously grow and upgrade both myself and my teams, to the next level. And that kind of becomes, kind of like the main challenge now. And for some perspective, if we can master the key skill to continuously to upgrade to scale, right? That may be something, we can grow indefinitely. Okay, or grow to the degree we like. But I think continuous growth, there's no end to that. So right now, how I can actually regularly 10x myself, our teams, our companies, that's the main challenge. That's the main topic in my mind. Okay, and to answer you, how efficient is that? I would actually say that specific operations, certain operations, we have become very efficient at, like maybe doing some software development, some, or utilizing certain tools. But I would say a more important question is not about efficiency, but also about effectiveness. Okay, meaning that whether the things we're doing is not just fast, but whether it's really in alignment with what we're trying to do, trying to reach out. Okay, so it's more about, is there alignment between what we do and we actually want to achieve in terms of the value, in terms of the mission, in terms of the goal. Karthik, does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yeah, I guess
So the mindset is the main part.
yes, I would say so. Yes. I mean, if anything, let me say if there's one thing I can tell my former self, my younger self, let's say maybe 10 years ago or when I started, right? Maybe like you, right? If there's like one thing I can share and tell, it would be this, is that do find a great mentor, okay, and learn. And pay specific attention to become kind of really resilient and can basically able to learn and grow at maybe a fast pace than what most other people are comfortable with. Okay, I think that's like the one thing because essentially I would like, I would very much like to share the 10x concept and the growth, to my former self. Because if you really think about this, right? Life is a journey and there's no end to it in the sense that, there's always the next stage, right? Let's say you're just starting now and you may not have much, right? You're just starting now. But at some point you're going to have your business, you're going to have your revenue, you're going to maybe have a $1 million revenue, right, at some point. But then there's the $10 million, right? After we reach that, there's the $100 million, right? So it's almost like there's never end to any kind of feasible goals you can pursue, right? There's always that next level. But I would say whether you can approach that growth in a healthy way and, still stay true to yourself, to your goal, to your vision, to your values, that becomes the more important thing. Right? Okay. I hope that helps.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, all right. So I think we're at the end, and maybe it's so maybe I'd just like to quick share. Anyone would like to share what is your biggest learning and also the action forward? Okay, so Karthik, would you like to share what's your today's biggest learning and one action?
The learning would be to, like you said, taking idea from one market and applying it to another.
Hmm,
So for
okay.
the actionable step, maybe I will research on this based on my domain, how whether there are any successful examples in other market and I can apply that here.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Okay, I wish you success. Okay, that's usually produce interesting, surprising results. Okay. All right, so Siddharth, would you like to share what's your biggest learning and action toward forward? Siddharth, can you share? By maybe unmuting yourself, Siddharth? Okay, if not, then Sahar, would you like to share what's the one learning and action forward for you? Sahar? You're muted. Okay, all right. So maybe yeah, maybe let's wrap up. So I would say one last thing to share for today is how we're going to. I told about the demo day. Okay, we're already on to actually week 9. Okay, so the next week actually would be the last week. Would be week 10. And then we actually will have a demo day. The format of the demo day is very simple. Okay, it's about for each team, for each person, do a 15 minutes. So that would be 5 minutes for the presentation part and 10 minutes for Q&A. And basically other people can ask questions. And we will also invite guests. Okay. Investors, also, friends with incubation accelerator background to provide feedback and suggestion. And I think we are going to be rewarding. Okay, there's actually a cash grant. Okay, that we are allocating. I think at this point $5,000 in total. Seeing the current progress, I guess what we'll do is to allocate that into $500 a chunk. Okay, to the teams that are being that are qualified. We in the last batch, the qualifying criteria has been well, one thing is to submit your YC application, okay, to complete that and actually send a copy, okay, and also prove that you have submitted. That's one. And also you have to attend at least 4 live coaching sessions. Okay, at least, because we do actually, so you have to, I think, I think at least 4. Okay. Actually, we do have 12 in total. Well, 11 in total. So that would be like a bit more. Well, we should make that into 5. Okay, because half of that, I think, at least attending half of the live coaching. So with those 2 criteria, and also presenting at the demo day. Okay, so and obviously we will look at the demo day and judge that. But the basic criteria is that attending, I think at least half of the live coaching. So by that time will be, I think, 5. Okay, 5 sessions, voice application submitted, and then do a demo day presentation. Okay, so that would be like the criteria for getting a $500 grant award. All right. So yeah, is that clear, Karthik?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So I'm also going to be announcing that in the in the channel. But yeah, and hope that would be helpful for some of people's, for people's project to actually move to the next stage. All right. Okay, so that's it for this week. For next week, we will move to Wednesday. Okay, the same format, but on Wednesday as opposed to Thursday, and then the demo day. Okay, so look forward to seeing you guys, and wish you all to have a 10x week. Okay, because this journey, it's really about always trimming down the AT, focusing on the 20%. And if you can continuously do that, I'm sure you will experience a lot of growth. Okay. All right. So see you next. All right. Take care. Take care. Yeah. Bye bye. See you next week. Yeah. Bye bye.